Have you ever wondered why, no matter how far you run, it still feels like something's missing? You chase success, love, validation, yet when you get close, it slips through your fingers. That feeling of almost never leaves. You scroll, you chase, you consume, hoping the next thing will be the answer. But what if the answer was never something to find? What if the thing you've been searching for is you? Stay with this message till the end, because by the time it's over, you'll see something most people never realize in their lifetime. And once you do, everything changes. Most of us grow up believing that something or someone outside of us will one day fix everything. A dream job, a perfect relationship, a lucky break. We've been conditioned to think that fulfillment is a destination you reach if you work hard enough, look good enough, or play your cards right. But deep inside, there's a part of you that already knows the truth. That voice that whispers when the world is quiet. The one that says, there has to be more than this. Psychology calls it the external locus of control. It's when your mind believes that life happens to you, not through you. That your happiness, your peace, your worth are all in someone else's hands. And so you keep looking, you keep running, hoping the next thing will finally be the thing. But it never is it? Because the truth is, if you don't feel whole inside, nothing outside will ever be enough. And the more you chase, the more exhausted you become. The more you give your power away, the more powerless you feel. That's why it hurts. That's why it feels like something's always missing. Not because you're broken, but because you've been searching in all the wrong places. Think about it. You weren't born doubting yourself. You weren't born questioning your worth. That was taught. That was learned. Every time someone made you feel small, every time you were told to quiet down, to fit in, to be realistic, you started to believe that who you were wasn't enough. And so you started looking outside to fill the space inside. But no amount of followers, fame, or fortune can fill a heart that's disconnected from itself. No relationship can heal what you haven't yet faced within. That's why so many people feel lost, even when they look like they have everything. Because they've mastered how to look successful on the outside while quietly breaking on the inside. What you're feeling isn't weakness. It's your soul trying to come home. It's your intuition reminding you, you don't need to find yourself in a book, a person, or a job. You're not something to be found, you are something to be remembered. And the moment you stop running, the moment you stop trying to become something and start reconnecting with who you already are, that's when everything shifts. That's when the noise fades. That's when clarity comes. You are not lost. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are simply disconnected from the truth of your own power. And the moment you realize that you'll stop searching, you'll start rising. Keep listening, because the deeper we go, the more you'll see. You are the answer you've been searching for all along. You say you want clarity. You say you want to grow. But when was the last time you sat with your own thoughts without trying to escape them? Most people don't fear failure. They fear meeting themselves. They fear the silence because in that stillness, the truth rises, and the truth can be uncomfortable. But it's only in that raw honesty where real change begins. The world teaches us to stay distracted, scroll more, work more, talk more, buy more. Just don't pause long enough to feel, because feeling means facing, and facing means healing. But healing is messy. It means peeling back the layers you've built just to survive. The masks, the fake smiles, the busy schedules designed to protect you from yourself. Psychology tells us the mind will always choose the familiar, even when it's painful, over the unknown. That's why you keep going back to the same habits. That's why you avoid the mirror. Because deep down, you fear what you'll see when everything else is stripped away. But that's exactly where your power is hiding. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens when you stop pretending. It happens when you're honest enough to say, I don't like who I'm becoming, or I'm not okay, or I've been running from myself. That's not weakness. That's strength. To look in the mirror and face your own darkness. That takes courage most people will never know. And here's what the mirror will show you if you dare to look. It's not your past that's holding you back. It's your avoidance of it. It's not the world that's against you. It's the war happening inside your own mind. And the longer you avoid it, the louder it gets. That inner voice, the one you keep trying to quiet, isn't your enemy. It's your signal. It's the part of you that remembers who you are, even when you've forgotten. You've been taught to seek approval, to impress, to prove your worth by external standards. But none of that matters if the person you see in the mirror doesn't believe in you. No achievement will ever be enough. No praise will ever feel real, because it all begins inside. And if you're still waiting for someone else to give you permission to change, to heal, to start over, this is it. No one is coming. No one else can do the inner work for you. You can keep searching for shortcuts. You can keep blaming the past, blaming others, numbing the pain, but that road leads to emptiness. The real path is simple but hard. Sit with yourself. Feel everything. Face the pain, the fear, the guilt, the dreams you buried. Face it all. Because once you face it, it loses its power. Once you stop hiding, you start healing. And once you start healing, you start unlocking the version of you that's been waiting in silence all along. The mirror doesn't lie. It reflects what you need to see, not what you want to see. And right now, it's showing you that the person you've been running from is the one who holds the key to everything you've ever wanted. What if the version of you you've always admired was never meant to be built, but uncovered? What if all the strength, clarity, and confidence you've been chasing wasn't something to create, but something to remember? You don't need to become someone else. You need to return to yourself. The problem is never that you're not enough. The real problem is that you've forgotten how powerful you are. Years of doubt, rejection, and fear have buried that truth under layers of noise. But the truth hasn't disappeared. It's still there, waiting for you to tap into it. Human psychology shows us that the stories we tell ourselves become the beliefs we live by. And when you repeat a thought often enough, whether it's, I'm not smart, I'm not strong, or I can't change, your brain wires itself to believe it. But the same science that explains how beliefs are built also proves this. They can be rewritten. You're not a fixed being. You are adaptable. Your brain, your body, your spirit, they're all capable of transformation, and it doesn't require perfection. It doesn't require waiting for the perfect moment. All it takes is a choice. One choice to stop believing the lies you've been fed. One choice to stop shrinking to fit into the world's expectations. One choice to say, I am ready to reclaim my power. You've had glimpses of it before. Those moments where your back was against the wall, and you didn't know how, but you made it through. Those times when everything fell apart, and you kept going anyway. That wasn't luck. That was you. That was your resilience. That was the fire inside of you that refuses to be extinguished. And it's still burning, even if it's quiet right now. Start feeding that fire. Speak to yourself like someone worth fighting for. Stop waiting for others to believe in you. Start believing in yourself so loudly that the world has no choice but to hear you. You were not put here to be average. You were not born just to survive. You were made to rise, to grow, to break cycles and write a new story. But that story begins with one belief: I already have what I need within me. It's not about waiting until you feel ready. Readiness is a myth. Strength isn't something you feel, it's something you decide. Every time you show up for yourself, even when you're scared, every time you choose to move forward instead of giving up, every time you whisper, keep going, when your world feels heavy, that is power, that is courage, that is transformation. The world will try to tell you that you're too broken, too late, too lost. But your truth is louder than their noise, if you're willing to listen. And when you finally begin to operate from your own truth instead of fear, you stop following the crowd and start leading yourself. You stop asking for directions from people who've never been where you're going. The real shift happens not when you change who you are, but when you finally accept who you are, your voice, your fire, your vision. That's where everything begins. You don't need more time. You need more belief. You don't need more answers. You need more self-trust. You are not waiting on life. Life is waiting on you. You know what you want. You feel it in your gut. Yet somehow you still find yourself stuck in the same cycle, hesitating, overthinking, second-guessing everything. That's not a lack of motivation. That's a mental loop your brain has learned to repeat. You've trained yourself to expect doubt, to expect delay. And because the pattern feels familiar, it feels safe, even if it's slowly suffocating you. The human brain is designed for survival, not success. It favors predictability over progress. That's why breaking a habit feels like war, because in a way it is. You're not just changing behavior. You're dismantling years of mental conditioning. And that kind of change doesn't come from inspiration alone. It comes from a deep personal decision that enough is enough. Think about how often you've stopped yourself, not because you lacked skill, but because you doubted your timing. You questioned your worth. You looked for validation before giving yourself permission. And with every delay, the pattern grew stronger. The comfort zone became your cage. But here's the truth: your next level won't come from comfort. It will come from disruption. To break the pattern, you have to start doing the opposite of what fear tells you. Fear will say, wait. Fear will say, not now. Fear will give you 1,000 reasons to pause. But growth only begins when you act anyway. Action rewires the mind. Each step you take in the direction of your power makes the old version of you weaker. And eventually, that pattern, the one that once controlled you, starts to break. It doesn't take massive change. It takes consistent courage. One new decision, one bold move, one moment where you choose to believe in your future more than your past. That's how patterns shatter. That's how you rise. Psychology teaches us that repetition creates identity. If you keep showing up as someone who hesitates, you'll start believing that's who you are. But if you begin showing up, even in small ways, as someone who takes ownership, who acts with purpose, who stops waiting and starts doing, you begin to see yourself differently. And once your self-image changes, your life changes. No more living on autopilot, no more reacting to life. It's time to respond with intention. It's time to stop living beneath your potential because you're afraid of being uncomfortable. Nothing meaningful grows without friction. The muscle grows from resistance, the mind grows from challenge, and the soul grows from choosing truth over ease. The pattern will try to pull you back. That's normal, but you are no longer available for the version of you that doubts, delays, and dims your light. You are available for alignment, for power, for peace. And that requires one decision at a time, one conscious shift from fear to freedom. You don't need to fix every part of your life overnight. You just need to interrupt the cycle once. And when you do, the whole system starts to fall apart. That's the moment things begin to change. Not when everything is perfect, but when you're bold enough to break what's been holding you. You've looked outside long enough. You've tried to fix your life by fixing the world around you. But here's the truth most people spend their entire lives avoiding. You were never missing anything. You were never broken. You were just disconnected from your own truth. And that truth has been quietly waiting for you to come back home. All along, you thought the answer was in someone else's hands. You thought healing would come from time, that confidence would come from praise, that purpose would come from a job or a title or a number on a screen. But real purpose begins the moment you realize you are not here to become something else. You are here to remember who you already are. There's nothing more powerful than someone who has stopped apologizing for being themselves. Nothing more unstoppable than a soul that has come back into alignment with its own voice. You don't need to be louder, bigger, more perfect. You need to be real. Real with your fears, real with your pain, real with your desire to grow. Because when you're real, you're free, you've walked through storms, you've survived moments that almost broke you. And somehow, even when it felt like everything was falling apart, you kept showing up. Maybe not perfectly, but you showed up. That matters. That proves something. You're not weak, you're still here. And being here, despite it all, is the strongest thing you've ever done. Let go of the need to chase things that don't align with your soul. Let go of waiting for someone to choose you. You don't need to be chosen. You need to choose yourself. The day you decide to stop looking for love, success, and validation in places that never really saw you, that's the day your real life begins. Not the one shaped by expectations, but the one designed by your truth. Self-worth isn't built from outside approval. It's built in the quiet moments when no one's watching and you still decide to rise. It's built in the choices you make when no one's clapping, when no one's validating you, and you still move forward. That's what makes you powerful. Not your status, not your success, but your decision to keep going when it would be easier to give up. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are not your fears. You are the awareness behind it all, the observer, the fire, the force that chooses to grow anyway. And that force doesn't come from outside, it comes from within. So stop searching for the answer in another book, another voice, another place. You've carried the answer all along, in your resilience, in your courage, in your willingness to get back up every time life pushed you down. That's your truth. That's your proof. You are the answer you've been searching for. Not someday, not when you're ready, right now. In this moment, it's already within you. All you have to do is believe it. And once you do, you won't need the world to give you direction. You'll create your own path with fire in your heart and certainty in your soul. That's when everything begins.